Baldassari was early to the grid, of course, as I mentioned before, starting from 6th. A victory or one who fades? We're about to find out. Front row then, Bezzecchi, Lund. We're waiting still for the green flag. Ah, there it is, it's ready to go, we're ready to go. 23 lap Bezzecchi, not so for Sam Lowes. He really struggled to get his Mark VDS machine away off the line. It will be Bezzecchi that leads it.
So not the launch off the line the Mark VDS man was looking for. He's under pressure as well from Canet, who's got him around the outside at turn 2. So
Marini then, that's the start that he wanted. Immediately up to 3rd place.
Yeah, Canet got away as was in the race. He said that was mission more than accomplished. He'll have his eyes on a stronger fight for the podium here today.
Bastianini to look up the inside and he sits Marco Bezzecchi up. Marini comes through as well, and now he's side by side.
Turn 6 then. We're on board briefly there with last weekend's Jerez winner Luca Marini. The sharp end of the pack last weekend. Still a solid result for Bastianini, but already clicking into a decent early rhythm.
Hit that as he tries to break away. Bastianini, there is Jorge Navarro in 4th, just ahead of Sam Lowe.
And he's made it stick into the final corner. Navarro and Lowe's, 2 riders who in the early laps tend to struggle. Bastianini with a pretty comfortable buffer of about half a second as he hits turn 1 for the second, for 4th at that final corner. He's under pressure now as well from Jorge Martin, who resisted Lowe so well.
He's up 9 places. Hector Garzo is up 7 places. You just saw there Tetsuta Nagashima.
The chart is 16th, 18th over the line. Nagashima had a worse first lap. Started 15th, 19th.
Then it's Sam Lowes, Navarro, and then Martin.
He's got Tom Luthi, the most experienced campaigner in this Moto 2 field for company. Schrotter, then Vierge rounds out the top 10.
Course, Marini in 2nd. They'd be locked on points going into Brno in the Czech Republic. Right.
Nagashima was 17th on this lap. He's made no inroads at all. He still is in that 17th position, number 40. Who last weekend really struggled in those hotter conditions. Not too bad in the cooler conditions of the morning sessions, but really at the moment ahead of Remy Gardner, Gian Antonio. Edgar Pons back in the points in 14th with Manzi
in 21st place at the moment, the Malaysians.
Yeah, really paying for a poor qualifying Indy siren. Felt like he got... Well, he's now past Lorenzo Baldassari. They're having a duel for 17th and 18th as Navarro's one.
You almost feel like if it wasn't Marini in front of him, he'd have a pop at 2nd here, but he wants to be very careful of the last. He's crashed out of this Grand Prix here in Andalusia. He's up and okay, trying.
Here now is an early exit here today, down at the end of the back straight. Tuck in the front group. Still Bastianini holding that pretty comfortable margin of about 3-4 tenths.
Since he's led a Grand Prix, and at the moment he's got a good buffer ahead of the 2 Sky VR46 riders.
400ths down, and then Bezzecchi was a 42.2, as was Sam Lowe. So
there as well, from 5th down to 7th, Martin, Navarro, Aaron Canet, and then it's Swiss.
Way below par is Augusto Fernandez at the moment. He's down in 22nd place. A lot of people had Fernandez inside of Martin. He did lunge up the inside of Martin, but was in way too hot. Couldn't get it stopped. He's got to do all the hard.
His front group. Oh, Remy Gardner's gone down. Is it Remy or is
Remy Gardner? I think there might be a fire.
On fire.
Yep, that's a clear indication there. As soon as you see riders and Marshall on a motorcycle at turn 6.
Apologies to our Australian viewers who had their heads in their hands then. A bit front end chattery, wasn't it, into turn 13 though. So Bastianini
10th on that previous lap, just slightly faster that time around than Marini, who again, Martin and Navarro desperately trying to go with that top 4. They've got Canet for company, and Tom Lee.
The Mark VDS flag then, number 22, Sam Lowes, despite the actual getaway from...
Della Porta's crashed as well. The tough time for the rookie goes on. Navarro nibbles at Martin yet again on the brakes. Who
was that in the gravel at turn 6?
They're probably still trying to move going down there.
That's what I was then thinking,
with Navarro making that move on Martin.
We can't see them here on our gap to the front, 6 tenths now. Looking at the battle between... There's Marini and Bezzecchi into turn 13. A bit of a twitch from the rear end there for Luca Marini as he looks to try and get...
His body's going to hang in there in these physically, mentally draining conditions. He's not fully fit, still hobbling around the paddock right here last weekend. Then he scored some points, but there's going to be no repeat of that here today.
of attrition here in this race. The heat here today in Spain, I mean, it's been warm for 2 weeks, as we've said, countless.
Number 9, gravity took over. Now look at Bastianini. His advantage now is stretching towards a full second.
Through Q1 yesterday.
Great move by Canet. He's got up the inside of, yes, there we go. We thought there was going to be a yellow flag. They're still removing Kazmi Yadin's bike in the gravel trap, so he obviously hasn't spotted the yellow flags, and now...
Still 7/10 between Bastianini and the 2 Italians following behind. There is something, that's for sure. You're right about him being happier. There was nothing like this from Luti.
Navarro's got us.
Well, that was neatly done, to be fair to him, at turn 13.
I'll tell you what, you're talking about Ivan. Tension.
Well, he's just...
That's costly, though,
squeezed,
That's really costly, because that's, you know, he's lost that momentum. That really has been so costly for Jorge Navarro, because he was starting to make progress towards Sam Lowe's, the Honda Team Asia rider, the number 35. He had 3 crashes here last weekend, and turn 13 on looking
this class. Marini just looking to hold things together. Marini's got to be clever here today. He'll be informed of Nagashima.
Is that Navarro firing up the inside of Martin into turn 6 again? How many times have we seen those two having a right up?
Now Aaron Canet. The gap to Sam Lowe's in 4th, by the way, still at about 1.4. Does look like maybe Marini's just closed that by a touch.
Marini manoeuvring towards Sam Lowe's at the moment, just can't get his hooks into Bezzecchi. I do wonder though how long Bezzecchi's fatigue will come into effect. How much energy is he having to burn using other parts of his body?
Even when Bastianini led in Moto3, he wouldn't have led here, but he'll take it. Yesterday, when he was in Q1, if he'd have been told he'd be leading the race on lap 7.
Really found.
Some days he looks just unstoppable, and other days I just don't understand it. It's obviously
week he's up and then the next week he's down. What about Tetsuta Nagashima as well? What about his progress? Nothing very quickly, because he's only in 15th place. He's about 8/10 as well behind Edgar Pons at the moment.
All of these guys is really quick, but I mean, you heard yesterday from a couple of riders who are down in 20th, up against a brick wall, and that's what Nagashima's finding right now. He's going to have to hope that he gets some...
He had at turn 6 yesterday, ran wide, got on the gas on the dirty part of the track, spun up the rear tyre, he took an almighty... That lost track time cost you as well. Then, of course, with that poor qualifying, there's going to be no repeat.
In a moment, we're on board now with Luca Marini. That gap has come down again as we now go on to the backstroke.
142s. He's just on a personal best lap, 42.335. He's starting to streak than Tom Luthi, absolutely blitzing away. It looks like there's another top 5 beckoning for the 20-year.
Well, basically the whole field's running the same rear, but in the top 10, there's only 3 guys on.
Thanks for that, Simon. That might explain why at this stage of the race already, Luthi and Martin.
Into turn 13 we go. It's another 10th, isn't it, gained from Luca Marini. He can smell an airbag.
Who at the stage of the race, he's just sitting there pretty comfortably behind Bastianini. He can see that his fellow Italian laps to go. Doesn't need to really force the issue here, does he? He's boxing clever again, Marini.
Look at that.
Yeah, bad day, hasn't it? Oh, dearie me, he's got it a bit out of shape there. He almost ran off the edge of the curb. Coming out of turn number, prick up the ears of Marini behind him to see that potentially just a few grip issues come in the way of your race leader.
Just in the background there, Marco Bezzecchi starting to fall into the...
Well, we say adrenaline's the best painkiller. The adrenaline will be coursing through Bezzecchi's veins. He'll desperately want that first podium. Chasing down Jorge Martin, couldn't quite get through on the Spaniard. He's facing a similar dilemma.
And the leaderboard on the left there. It was a DNF for him last week, and there he is again, I'm afraid. You were penciling his name into potential future Moto GP seats, but the erasers coming out with
nil point in a week in Jerez. That's not going to cut it. Not when you've got a man like Marini doing what he figured. Jorge Navarro, let's have a look and see what happened to him. Turn 9 again, it's another front.
Kalex, because despite their domination over the years, they've been tested at times, and last year's have done the business, and you know, both Navarro and Gian Antonio have struck.
They're doing the same again here right now as well, with Aaron Canet flying the flag for speed up. What a job. And that's put Marini right on his case, right on the back wheel now then of Enea Bastianini is Luca Marini.
Well on course to performing something similar to this last year in Austria, and Luca Marini...
It took him an age to recover from that, didn't it? long time, it really did compromise the second.
He's just been told gas. He's been leading for 11 laps. I think he's probably doing all he can out front, and now Bastianini.
Yeah, what happened here then, going into that fast left-hander turn 8. Yeah, you can just see there, just pushing the jump all over it there and pouncing. It looks like Marini's quite content just to keep looking at Bastianini.
Happened last year in Austria. If he's going to make the pass on Bastianini, make sure it's clean. Further back to 12th now, ahead of Fabio Di Gianantonio.
Phase of the race where he normally does come on strong. If there's anybody that's super strong on water, although there's a gap then of about another couple of tenths he's going to have to bridge to get on the case of Remy Gardner. Just letting Bastianini know he's right there, showing his front wheel. These top 2.
Possibly, yes. It looks like it might have done slightly, doesn't it? Into turn 13 we go. There'll be
because he's doing a brilliant job. Sam Lowe's, a bit like last week with Jorge Martin, running a real consistent rhythm.
Long race for Bezzecchi as well. When you're carrying injury, Matt, and you're not in close quarters and in this sort of race, it's hard work for an old teammate there. Remy Gardner's just up ahead of him.
Yeah, there was obviously a mistake on that lap by Di Gianantonio, because he happened on that last lap for the Italian, because he lost a couple of spots, now back down in 14th.
Jizzy, for a rider of his talent at the moment, it's just he cannot force his way into the positions he should.
But you're on the back foot,
especially in this class.
I mean, to be honest, he's doing awesome to be even fighting for the top 10 in the genes from his father, by the looks of it.
Well, all he can do is just continue to finish races, and hopefully some.
Remy Gardner's on. They'll see what he's doing in terms of lap times, how much faster he's going than the 2019 chassis was.
As long as he just continues to finish races, that's all you can really ask. Anyway, Nagashima's through today. Across the line though, 10 laps to go, and the number 10 we're on board with, trying to hunt down Enea Bastianini.
Oh, Nagashima's gone. Oh no, it's just popped up on our screen that Nagashima's crashed. Now we're getting on our screens that Tetsuta Nagashima has crashed. It's not, it's Happy Siren.
Yeah.
So, Japanese fans, you can breathe
shortly. Not often, the timing screens give us the wrong information. But for the lead, still, Bastianini. Marini looks very comfortable though, it has to be.
In Grand Prix. And he's now in 11th place, as Steve mentioned. He's probably going to at best get Buliger and Schrotter, isn't he? Because there's quite a big gap between Schrotter.
A good rhythm here, and his
last 2 laps he's been 0.3 of a second quicker than Lowe's.
9 laps to go.
Lowe's must be so frustrated because he's been so tantalisingly close to the podium. He's so close he can almost take it this time around. Just 0.4 of a second splitting the Italian and the Brit.
And their first win since Mattia Pezzini was last victorious.
Yeah, when was Bastianini's? Bit of daylight there between Bastianini again and Marini.
Well, stretch himself too much and make a big mistake, because he'll know where Nagashima is. Here is Sam Lowe's then in 4th. He's now just struggling to live with Marco Bezzecchi.
It's been evident today is he has not had anywhere near the pace of the top 4. He's been running mid to the front, so it has not been Nagashima's days. He's gone into damage limitation mode now.
In the background there.
Very slender lead in the championship though is Nagashima. If he stays as is, what are we hoping for?
Are they the 3 guys that will be battling it out then for the Moto2 World Championship? A Moto GP spot in the next few years.
Barring that little mistake he made at turn number 8, Luca Marini at this stage of the Grand Prix has not really got anything for him. The gap's been eked out now, whether he just perhaps rolled out of it for 2 or 3 laps just to try and save a bit of tyre.
Let's hear now from Pablo Nieto about how he...
Out on track. Is he just managing it to think, being sensible and push at the end, or what's your opinion?
So we have to try to follow him, and then in the end try to make something.
Looks strong. He could come back.
I think the most important thing is to get experience, and then the next step will come more late.
Best of luck.
Yeah, in other words, this lap Bezzecchi again took another 2 tenths out of the Brit, so it's that advantage Bezzecchi by over a second for the...
Who's not really got going today, has he, Jorge Martin? Luti then in 7th, Xavi Vierke 8th, then it's...
There is Sam Lowe's then. Can he find anything in these last 7 laps to claw
again to the forward racing MV Agusta rider Stefano Manzi, who once more has you associate with Stefano Manzi?
No. He's always been a bit of a wild child, hasn't he, Manzi? But he's brought some 8th points finish in the last 10. Bastianini that now leads for the first time by over a second.
He's the mistake he made at turn 8. He's not made a single mistake. And if you're pushing and asking questions of a rider like Luke,
as you mentioned, Steve, is he going to really throw caution to the wind and risk crashing it? So he had a premium, low grip, slippery, greasy surface, and with 20 points looking like this
team here, they can just sense, can't they, that it's getting closer, this victory.
A Grand Prix, he's not pushing it as hard as he can anyway. I like the sentiment, but I'm
not really in any danger of losing that place, but not really closing on Marco Bezzecchi up ahead of him.
Injury and bouncing back to a couple of top 4 finishes. He's back at the sharp end where he wants to be. Far back as he's been, what are we looking at now? Yeah, 1.5 seconds is the gap between the 2 Italians.
Is he Luca Marini? He's so intelligent. He knows the situation. Here is Nagashima now. He's up ahead. 8th is in sight for the Red Bull KTM rider, and every point matters at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a good recovery this by Nagashima, because at the end of lap 1 he dropped from 15th to 19th. So he's got Buliga ahead, who's had a track limits warning, so Nicolo Buliga's got to be careful, otherwise he'll be in for the long lap.
Video shot of the race leader, Bastianini, so don't worry, all is well there. He still leads by now.
A tyre coming out the final corner, and is that going to allow Trotter to be close enough to strike on the spaniel on the brakes into turn 1? No, it's 0.7 seconds now.
Nagashima twitch from the rear end there, almost getting a bit impatient ahead of him. He is faster than him by a considerable distance. Yeah, he does struggle, doesn't he, with tyre life.
And 4 when he was on the curbs, wide into 5, and Marcel Schrotter says thank you very much, I'll take that.
Well, Nagashima was hot into turn 6, that's where he had his accident earlier in the weekend.
Yeah,
he'll be an unwanted visitor.
Yeah, Nagashima then, he makes his move on boot by the Japanese rider. That's top 10 for him now, although then straight away he's almost on the floor. That 10th from Buliga, and he was almost down at 9.
Must stay on. Thanks for that, Simon. The top 4, this is like the race from
him, wasn't he? Sam Lowes was 4th, Canet was 5th. So there's been a couple of repeat performances going. Turn 9. So Manzi on course to be putting the MV Augusta in the top 10.
Jerez, I think, the American who was so strong on the opening night in Qatar. I bet he can't wait to get to Brno.
He really needs to pre in Qatar. There's Schrotter then trying to streak away from former Liquid line. Do you? He's on the ragged edge.
Almost 2 seconds cleared.
Yeah, I think Marini's just locked into championship mode now. He's thinking about those 20 points more than anything. He knows even if Bezzecchi was getting close, it was unlikely that Bezzecchi would launch any daring rush.
It'll be one of the youngest podiums you're likely to see in Moto 2 coming up right now with these 3 Italians. Bezzecchi 20.
Down again, mate.
Go on, go for it.
I reckon that this is going to be, if it happens, the first 22 years ago when a certain Valentinorossi beat Loris Capirossi and Stefano Perugini.
All right, Stat.
Oh, yeah.
Take a bow, take a bow. If
I hope it's right.
Well, so do I. For your sake.
If it's not.
Goes past Nicolo Buliga. There are 3 laps remaining here in the Grand Prix of Andalusia. Bezzecchi.
This would be late heartache for Bezzecchi, wouldn't it? He's ridden the race ahead of Sam Lowes. He's put all the hard work in to get that podium, but Lowes is...
all that will do is just give Lowes even more confidence, so we might have a bit of late drama here. Not at the front though. Bastianini.
From bad to worse, a day to forget for the Cito Pons team as well. Lorenzo Baldassari, Championship Challenge. Happy memories in Jerez 2018 and 2019.
Oh, it's coming out.
Blimey, lost.
What happened there?
Down at turn 9 in this Moto 2 race, the marshals have been very, very busy at turn 9 in the stadium section.
Gardner. Yeah, holding on to that one. And now Bastianini then is on his way here to picking up his 4th career victory, but crucially his 8 tenths. Not quite close enough, you'd feel, at this stage, Lowes, to be able to...
Today, he's been on a different level. He's done a Marini on Marini in many respects.
Yeah, you're right, he has. To Bastia, as he's known, the beast, across the line. I think Bezzecchi's going to be all right, even with a little mistake here and there. Seems unlikely.
Sam Lowes has not given it up though, has he? Just coming a little bit too late, you feel, for the Briton.
What can?
Do you know what? Sam Lowes has already taken 3 tenths out of Bezzecchi in the first sector.
Well, you know,
an absolute masterclass from Enea Bastianini. No other word for it. Well, sensational performance.
battled his way to the front row. That's how you turn a weekend upside down. He's been absolute.
That is Neo Bastianini. He stepping up to the plate as a big championship survived the late onslaught from Lowe's. Looks like Bezzecchi knows he's got time in his pocket, and Neo Bastianini looks like it's going to be a podium lockout for Italy as well.
The beast is back. He wins. Was from the Italtrans man. Second for Marini. It is a maiden podium for Marco Bezzecchi, who managed to hold on. Anzi.
Carve up there, last corner. Nagashima was out well wide. Got on the gas, almost high side himself.
It's Marini. No, it's Marini.
Oh, it's Marini.
Has he crashed on
the cool down lap
with his teammate
to celebrate?
First of all, the good news is they're both okay, but it looks like a little bit of an embarrassing situation here.
Slate each other here, aren't they? And it's going to end in tears. Here we go, on board with Maurice, because that's going to be right on there. Deary me.
Are they all right?
Of the other rider.
Can't recall ever seeing that one before. Two teammates celebrating on the cool. A friendly fire in the Grand Prix.
We might have a bit of a delay on their arrival to Parc Ferme here. Anyway, the first...